I was going to do a basic review of Community, but I figured everyone already agrees that the show is the tits and deserved more during its time airing. Instead, let's talk about how its constant changes of medium for special episodes was probably the most genius idea pitched in any sitcom writing room. Community's lack of a laugh track and its single camera shooting style places it among newer sitcoms with a drier sense of humor. It also allows for more variety in how its episodes are set up. In sitcoms like Friends, the characters and their situations are limited to being at least somewhat plausible, but Community decides on being theatrical and avant-garde. I've likened this series to a cartoon with actors as opposed to a live-action series. The setting being a community college was genius, especially once they cemented that the dean makes poor financial decisions that fuel the wacky hijinks of the study group. However, there is one thing that sets this sitcom apart from the others, and that is the inclusion of Abed, who is the Uncle Iroh answer if you ask any viewer who their favorite Community character is. It's not just that Abed is great, because he is, but he functions as this series' excuse to make unique episodes. His interest in pop culture and filmmaking allows the show to use tropes and break the fourth wall without it feeling cheap.
Please don't jim the camera like that.
Jim the camera?
The first time you realize that Community is that show is when Abed uses footage of Britta and Jeff fighting to explain his feelings towards his father. It was episode 3, baby, and I was already in tears. But they did it in a different way than most shows would. Community makes jokes, talks about friendship, and has rewatch value. Those are basic qualities of most sitcoms. However, Community always takes the unique approach. Episodes where Community really switches its medium are by far my favorites. Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, where Abed imagines them all in stop motion, is another episode that is both hilarious and emotional. One, stop motion is always cool, and it was a great way to pay homage to older Christmas specials. 2, the jokes in this episode are hilarious. And 3, you learn that it's the first year Abed's mom didn't visit him to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and his friends end up helping him discover the true meaning of Christmas.
This is what Christmas does to people. We put too much meaning into it, and it lets us down.
We beg to differ.
It's really cheesy, and it's really good, and it ends on a very wholesome, Christmassy note. Intro to Felt Surrogacy uses puppets to explain a wild day that the study group had. G.I. Jeff is entirely animated, being Jeff's dream, and ends with him accepting the fact he's aging. Pillows and Blankets is filmed like one of those old war documentaries, all while depicting the most uncertain point in Troy and Abed's friendship. Digital Estate Planning uses part live action and part video game animation. I know I'm using the term medium loosely, but even episodes that suspend disbelief just a little bit end up setting Community apart from other sitcoms. I think the most popular episode is Remedial Chaos Theory, an episode that plays out what would happen in different timelines depending on who went down to get the pizza from the pizza delivery guy. In the timeline where Troy gets the pizza, everything turns to absolute shit within a minute, and Abed refers to this as the darkest timeline. These evil versions of the study group are recurrent characters throughout the remainder of the show.
Troy and Abed in the morning.
There are a few documentary-style episodes, each of which is filmed by Abed, the resident filmmaker. These episodes feel more akin to episodes of The Office and Parks and Rec, which is pretty neat. Of course, you can't talk about Community without discussing their iconic paintball episodes, most of which pay homage to an action movie style or a specific media, like Star Wars. You normally wouldn't be able to make episodes like this in sitcoms like Friends or Big Bang Theory, because it's nowhere near plausible that a rival college is willing to fund a giant paintball tournament for days in order to destroy the school for, profit or something. Community relies on the perfect amount of the suspension of disbelief. Zombies. There are actual zombies in one episode, and instead of saying LOL JK, it was a prank, the show doubles down and says yes, the only reason they didn't remember that they were zombies is because the government roofied them. Nice. They have a heist and stop Chang from blowing up the school. There's an underground chicken finger mafia. One of their episodes is just a musical. The first few episodes of Community set it up like any old sitcom, but they end up following such ridiculous plot lines that you never know what to expect from certain episodes. Community can both pay homage to other forms of media and make episodes that are just patented Community episodes, all while adding in new and unique ideas that keep the show fun and fresh. You toss on any episode and laugh, and even the pop culture references are vague enough that when I first watched Community, I thought it was new. I had no idea that it came out in 2009. Not that that's old, but it's impressive how up-to-date the humor feels. Community is frequently forgotten when it comes to deciding which modern sitcoms are the best of the best. And I wonder if it's because it was a bit late to be popular when sitcoms aired on TV, and a bit early for when streaming services became the undisputed norm. Either way, Community still has a popularity that cements it as one of the most unique and out-of-the-ordinary sitcoms ever.